They'll be calling you a radical. We need to talk about the KELP Studies out of California. We need to talk about the Post-Ignorance Project. We need to talk about you surviving nuclear fallout, you as cancer victims, you as potential cancer victims, our children, our socioeconomic status. We're going to talk about it. First, clear up a few things. Next stop on the Post-Ignorance Project is the Enola Gay Hangar in Wendover, Utah, Nevada. It sits right literally on the Nevada-Utah border, right on 80. It's a casino town, so there's lots of cheap rooms. It's a Tuesday. We're just going to set up. It's going to be organic. Ackerman's coming from Canada. You know, another great artist coming up from Vegas. So it'll be fun. It'll be organic. Hopefully we can get some decent weather because I want to do it outside. I have a really cool spot. I'm going to pass out Kool-Aid and yellow cake. Marie Antoinette let them eat yellow cake. But next after that, I even think more important, and this is the 3-year anniversary, and this event is very important because most anti-nukers and most of you people, you may have forgot, but you really know about Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Y-12. As I stood at Y-12, that's the creepiest place in the world. Megan Rice in prison there. Megan Rice, that amazing soul. Somebody called me in the middle of the night last night. Kevin, how can I get a hold of Megan Rice? Yeah, really. Go get yourself put in a federal prison, I guess. 84-year-old nun. But they know about Los Alamos. Oh, the W-whip is leaking. Wow. That's the National Repository because we have Yucca Mountain sitting out there. That, by the way, was billed because we refuse to handle the herd of elephants in the room. Nuclear waste, nuclear. That's enough for no nuclear right there by 1,000 times. We know about all this Manhattan Project gone amok. Thus, the opposite of the Post-Ignorance Project. Because it is ignorance. It's rooted in an evil person. I mean, it's good versus evil. But out at the Enola Gay Hangar, I mean, I used to go in that thing as an artist when I was younger, and I mean, it was in disarray. There were, myself, I used to paint in there. Nobody cared. It was homeless people living in there. It's really in disarray, but they got a grant and restored it. The curator, he's a wonderful man. He's really a good guy. It's really a surreal place. It really will turn you on as an artist. I can guarantee that. But next, after that, where I was 3 years ago, when I was trying to, I've been leading up my post-ignorance socioeconomic movement. My post-ignorance is a pure human rights movement. It's an art movement. It has no ism in it, as Ackerman calls out all the time. By the way, his art's brilliant. Remember that hat? That's still my favorite video I ever did when I stood on March 15, 2011, went crazy by the pond. I love that video. I still think it's my best. Do people think it's the best? It doesn't matter. This is about quality, not quantity. As Occupy, I was due to speak in Zuccotti right off the get at Occupy. I remember people came and saying, well, God, you're full of shit, blah, blah, blah. They didn't realize I was full of cancer. I got cancer right as it freaking left. I was heavily involved. I spent the entire winter of 2010, 2011 at NYU in some of the worst snowstorms. I mean, I could show you some videos that blow your mind. That was that hideous, hellish snowstorm that year. I was at NYU standing right there. I was trying to lead it up to the 100th anniversary of the Shirtwaist Fire. And you guys, you young people, get Googling. That's what changed the world. That was the event that created the greatest middle class in world history. It was horrible. Because it happened right there, Building D at NYU. Now, I'll be there the 25th. I'll be there in New York City. I land at LaGuardia the 24th. I'll be there for several days. I have a lot of great stuff planned because I'm very organized this time. I'm not as sick as I've been in the past at New York. I've been very sick. I'm starting to really feel stronger and better and come around to myself, even though Fukushima's rained hard over the top of us. I mean, I think it needs to be said about this vlog and this blog and my way and me talking about the kelp in California. It's so important in my thesis, in my art, in my body. You know, as we peel back the layers, I got sick on day 212 of Fukushima. A radical cancer. I mean a radical on this path in my fight. You got to realize that the whole group that went in there was like 15. I'm the last one alive. You think you're doing better, it comes right back down and kills you. And kills you fast. It's a hardcore. These acute diseases are hardcore. I met a guy yesterday, a doctor yesterday, a blood doctor, you know, who collects bloods, who helps saves our lives. And he told me, he says, Kevin, you're not going to believe this. I'm going into LDS. What? I got diagnosed with the exact same thing you had, acute myeloid. I'm like, oh no, oh no. But, you know, we had a long talk about, he wanted to know how I've done it, and, you know, there's been a lot of people watching this vlog, and we talked a lot about it, and, you know, we talked about his strength, and, you know, his wolf spirit, and being active, and, you know, I'll have to tell you guys about it. I'll lay it out in my book. I went through this therapy session I invented with the sun on where the tubers were in my body, but this vlog in California, San Onofre. When I went to San Onofre on 2/12, I started organizing from my hospital room. I was screaming my head off about the corruption that was going on in San Onofre. I've been fighting San Onofre for years and years. Why? Because Pendleton's right there at San Onofre. My father, the atomic veteran from Pendleton. I've been head of the atomic veterans for decades. As those guys, I mean, I'm still so outraged. You know, by the way, none of them ever got a penny. None of them ever got a penny. They were, you know, nuked to death. You know, they were lit up in the Nevada test. They cut their tonsils out, tested them. And I want to say this to all the FOIA document people out there. You guys regurgitate FOIA documents, sit around, screenshot, screen save, and that's great. It's important work. What you're doing is extremely important work. But know this. You quote FOIA documents like somehow they're gospel. They're not gospel. They're actually, for the most part, they're NRC conversations going back. NRC is a joke. NRC, for the most part, are fools. Now, Jacko, remember this. In the early days, the NRC recommended the evacuation of Tokyo. There was lots of debate about it. They were dead wrong on that. Why were they dead wrong? Because the wind was blowing out. It's where the water flows. It's where the wind blows. That leads me into the kelp. Now, look, as far as the kelp goes. Now, Long Beach, you know, a lot of great activists down there in California, you know, video on our TV, the news report. Think about this. This is 3 years later. Now they're going into the ocean 3 fucking years later. Remember this. We pay federally tax-paid dollars, billions and billions of dollars. We fund at the federal level all these marine biologist departments up and down the coast of California. They want to go in now 3 fucking years later. Now, I've read the freaking study, the international team study, how many times it got leaked to me by Berkeley, and, you know, about 1.5 years, 2 years later, and, you know, it's out there. The international study said 1,000 times background levels, 25 miles out, 300 meters down in the column. They caught a fish with 16,000 background. Now, somehow, you're going to fall for Ken's bullshit. Ken, that fucker, you know, he burned up a whole big endowment at Woodhull. Why do you think he's not with Woodhulls anymore? He burned up their endowment. He just fucking ate it up. This guy's fucking what the environmentalist movement has turned into. Greenpeace, all of them, these guys live like fucking kings. And, you know, I'm organic, I'm fucking raw. The Pacific Ocean is not a bathtub. Okay, class, it's like this, kids. Here's Fukushima, Japan. Poof. They exploded. Gunderson and all these people softball at hydrogen blast. I screamed my head off in a cute fashion. You can watch that. Go to my channel page. You can see, fuck, day one. I'm going fucking psycho about it. I'm cute because I know. The wind was blowing out for the first 5-6 days. It's blowing out over the top, right here, now we know, right over Utah, right up over these mountains where it's ironic, all my small group of Paul right there, he got sick the same time I did. You know, he died last year, and he was a beautiful person. Our whole group, we got hammered. Idaho got hammered. Utah got hammered. Wyoming got hammered. Well, the whole freaking area got hammered because of the plume. NRC saying evacuate. That's so when you're quoting, just like, oh, they had an earthquake drill. No, that's a regurgitation of a process that they go through over and over. Just like, oh, they ordered more iodine. They always order more and more because by law that was what we got restructured. That was our gift as anti-nukers to build nuclear. Oh, by law they have to do X. I have the Diablo Canyon plan here, which is a total fucking joke. It's false equivalency to the 10th fucking power. The FOIA document work, it's good work, but take it with 3 grains of fucking salt. The NRC is not fucking expert. The NRC is the nuclear rallying cheerleaders. Just like all other agencies totally captured. Barbara Boxer's words, not mine. As I've educated Boxer. So I started out, class, here comes, they started dumping water on, pushing into the Pacific. Okay, as I was reporting, long before anybody was reporting this, go watch my videos in the early days. I called it Pacific Genocide. I've been calling it Pacific Genocide. I called it Nuke Gate on day 3. You know, I was going off on it. You know, I didn't have to wait for fucking 8 or 9 months for no fucking FOIA document, please. I mean, I'm an artist off instinct, off knowledge, off experience. Has this been the classroom? Of course it's been the classroom. But we graduate in freaking levels. I love you people that just came in. You know, we need everybody, but it's like a movement. It's like a movement. I mean, Occupy, I was scheduled to go there and do what I do, but I will go back to NYU now and do what I was going to do because it was the 25th of March, but 311 trumped it. They poured it into the ocean. It caught the little eddy current there that goes into the Japanese current. The Japanese current goes up like this. It gets right off the coast of California. It splits and goes up into our fishbowl, where all your fish come from. The Gulf of Alaska. It runs all the way down the California current. You go throw a rubby duck in there. Go throw a bunch of rubber ducks in there. You will make it to Long Beach. Long Beach, you will make it there in 6 days. 6 days. The Pacific Ocean is not a fucking bathroom. And these marine biologists that are posturing and grooming, because why? They're doing it for their money. These people don't work. They're going to take the path of least resistance because that's what America's turned into. They're fucking funny. Oh, we're going to collect kelp now. And this scientist, he says, oh, well, he's already, number one, I mean, I'm a stats guy. I mean, seriously, I taught at the #1 MBA program in the world. I graduated from, I was an arbitrage derivative specialist on Wall Street. I'm very sophisticated about my subject matter, very sophisticated. Anytime a professor or anybody caveats a study and they go in with a predisposition to an idealistic thought process before they collect their data and they start stating their data is flawed immediately. It's worthless. He come out and says, oh, we already know what the background will be. We know what it'll be in the future. Really? He said that. He said, this is a guy who's supposedly a scientist. If you're in 101 in a university classroom and you're talking about your NSET and your study, you would get thrown out of a fucking classroom if you had a decent professor, which we don't have that anymore. So, the fact of the matter is, it's in pockets. I've said stay on tuna. They caught a fish with 16,000 times the background freaking levels. You eat that, fish swim. The silver tuna, the silver streak. We don't even know their migration pattern. That study that's been quoted from August of 2011, that's been quoted over and over and over in San Diego, was on tracer study to try to understand migration patterns of tuna. So all it was, that study's totally flawed. The bigger study was done in June of 2011. The international team, which I've quoted over and over, I've read it so many times to nausea on freaking thing. And that tells the tale. That's when my light went on and says, fuck, you can't eat fucking tuna. That was a lie. You can't eat anything. When I saw that, 1,000 times radioisotope in the column. And it said already into the column. That was June of 2011. And it amazes me how you guys as scientists, how people in contemporary culture somehow think we just drew a line in the sand. This was an event that happened. And we're going to study the event in regurgitation in a historical tense. No! I'm going to write a book. I'm going to do this. Whatever in historical tense. This is ongoing. This is an ever-flowing epic event that is ongoing. This is unfolding. This is like getting halfway through Moby Dick and fucking tearing the page out, fucking throwing it away. No, this is happening now. This is ongoing. Don't you get that? Don't you understand? This is pockets. Just like that bridge made it to Eugene, Oregon in how many days? You don't know where the pockets are. Now the KELP study, they're going to come back out with background levels. I don't know what they're going to be, but here, know this. We know I have all the data, and I'm going to slam these guys. I am so sophisticated about this. I have all the Islamic veterans background data. I have all the Bikini Island background data, and it's been written, oh, as the, you know, the USS Reagan, the Lucky Dragon. Are you kidding me? USS Reagan was not the Lucky Dragon. The Lucky Dragon, yeah, that was unlucky. Yeah, unlucky, really. They didn't know they were in there. Fucking bikini bombs. Remember, Oppenheimer said no. Fucking Einstein said no. It was that fuckhead Teller. And Teller fucking ran the show clear into fucking Star Wars. Teller handed the football off at Cal Berkeley. Cal Berkeley is eugenics shoe. And if you don't believe me, John Holdren is running the cleanup of Fukushima. Look him up. Yes, he's an eugenics guy. I'm going back there too. And I'm going to protest at Berkeley. Eugenics you. They're evil fuck because, oh, they're elitists. Fuck, they ain't elitists. They're fucking sad pieces of shit, and they will be viewed in history for the pieces of shit. And as far as my art and my vlog goes, I'll use Jackson Pollock's, as you know, I've used it over and over and over. The strangeness will wear off. I mean, I flipped the soup can behind my back over and over. I painted with tomato soup. By the way, any of you painted with, I invented painting with tomato soup. And it's not the idea, it's not the painting of the soup can, it's the idea to paint the soup can, but then you have to paint the fucking soup can. And as far as protests go, YouTube cameras change the scene. You don't have to go to jail. You can stand there by yourself and do a really great video. You can get it out to your populace, and that's what works. It's not the old days, get all kinds of crazy, get all rebellious, then call the media and hope they fucking crop it and show it onto a tele. Fuck them. Who needs them? We're the fucking media now. They ain't no fucking media. They're a fucking joke. The fact of the matter is this. I'll never forget this. In all my travels, I was in fucking very critical condition when I went to San Onofre, and I was heavily involved while in critical condition. You know, if you type in Blue Castle, that thing, that's boy, I fucked Blue Castle big time. You type in Blue Castle, that's the nuclear reactor trying to build on the grid. You're going to get me with a central line hanging out of my jugular in the first hospital, almost dead. I think it's such a great piece of art that it smacks people in their fucking heads and makes them realize that nuclear is death. It is death. So an activist came to me, and she's Lonnie Clark up in Oregon. I went to Oregon on the 2-year anniversary. Did that great interview with Jack Dresser. She says, Kevin, what about taking the Post-Ignorance Project on the road? The work that you did at San Onofre proves to me how powerful your voice is and how powerful this YouTube channel, how powerful your art is. And it did make, I knew right then when we were down there, Joni Ray can testify to all this. I says, I don't know. I ran it by my daughter, and they're like, no way, daughters, are you kidding? But one doctor, you know, because I have a team of doctors, and they debate. He says, you go, kid, you go. You know, you're setting the playbook on this because we don't know what to do with you. I mean, this disease is so radical in you, and, you know, you're not recovering. Go. What do you got to lose? So I've been so many places. I've done so many things, you know, led the Million Masked Man March, in Washington Square twice, in Southern California 3 times, once for, you know, I was there for the Reagan hearings. The Reagans was sent in. It wasn't luck, it was sent in. It was malice, just like the Marines were sending Cheney white phosphor to his own Marines in Fallujah. Just like they used depleted uranium. They don't care about their own fucking people. It's done with malice. That's the definition of malice. So I've done all these incredible events, traveling on, you know, as Lonnie Clark came to me and asked me. You know, and she's paid for my plane flights on this. It's been hard. You know, the Livermore lab, well, that was creepy out there. It was scary. You know, I've had some really bizarre incidents. I got a gun pulled on me. You know, a lot of crazy stuff. But for the most part, it's been very enlightening. And I'm alive. But the one thing that stands out in my mind more than anything, is I was on the beach arguing with Greenpeace's young activists, and they called their bigwig and come. Me and him got into an argument. I'm on the beach at Huntington Beach and at Pacific Beach. I was on both piers the same day. There was some little girls going out and picking up the kelp with their arms, and you know, that's what little girls do. That's what we do as children on the beautiful beaches of Southern California, and making words, you know, peace, love, whatever, in this beautiful white sands with the kelp. And I remember thinking about that little girl. And that kelp dropped all over her body. And I remember thinking, which piece of kelp is hot and which ones are not? We don't know because we've been betrayed by the Marine Biologist Departments. We've been betrayed by the Obama administration. We've been betrayed by the Republican and Democrat. Remember, the Republican Party, the oppositional party, it's their duty to call these things to attention. Vitter was head of the Gene McCarthy EPA appointment on the oppositional. He didn't even show up. I mean, it is betrayal at the highest level in the media, that fourth pillar that we've always, without that fourth pillar we have nothing, because well, we have become the fourth pillar. I've traveled, the Shirtwaist Fire 100th anniversary is where I was going to go. You know, some woman says, oh, slow down and write shit down. Fuck her, please. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You know, this is for the big kids. It's not, I'll tell you, I can tell you right now, Occupy what ruined Occupy, it got too big too fast. Because any social movement, anything that really is going to work as far as art, culture, time, space, that is really going to work, a real revolution, whether it be of the heart, whether it be of the landscape, of economics, all of it. Popular opinion is not our freaking friend. Popular opinion is our enemy. So we don't want popular opinion with us. We don't want the mass media with us. We don't want contemporaries, because to have that you fell, because popular opinion is dead wrong. Culture is dead wrong. We're the counter. That's what great art is. That's what Pollock was up to. That's what Warhol was up to. That's what Van Vincent was up to. As you know, I hung those on my clothesline. I think it's the most powerful, powerful art I did. You know, these are nuclear reactors. I did my whole group of them. My color study, my nuclear reactors. Hanging on the clothesline. Yellow for the sun, the sun, the sun. On the clothesline, in the wind blowing. Because, I mean, how can you be an environmentalist without being in the environment? The environment's inside and outside. The KELP studies, I think, I hope that we get some good data and these guys can wake up and say, hey, we found areas that are, you know, pretty high levels and areas that are not. That's the problem. These are bioaccumulative levels. And we don't know, if you're eating fish, you don't know what you're getting hot, what you're not. These are groups. These are hot particles. The international team study tells us. The Bikini Island studies tell us. The Atomic Veterans study tell us. Hiroshima, Nagasaki tell us. Chernobyl, Chernobyl. You know, people say I'm over the top. No, no, I'm not over the top. This dummy down delusion, even as the activist who takes the field says, oh, you know, we write a book that Chernobyl's killed 1 million people. You know, you always take the softball. No, no, that's what they do. You know, the IAEA, oh, it killed 4,400 people. My work shows it's killed over 40 million. It continues to kill. The half-life plutonium is 24,500 years. As, oh, humans will just adapt. Oh, no, they won't. Einstein says, hell no, they won't. Yeah, over many, many generations. This is our lives. You are willing to participate with slaves. I really think the iconic thing will be, it should have been at the 100-year anniversary, but 2 weeks before it happened at the Shirtwaist Fire, I was leading up to make you realize that you are a slave owner and you are totally immoral as a populace. I'm not talking as an individual. You're wearing bloody garments. You're buying bloody goods from slaves. These are American slave owners, plantation owners in Asia. These are, the only thing Mitt Romney ever said that was true. The only thing that he ever said that was true. That hair-sprayed masquerade party. Corporations are people. Yes, they are people. And the board of directors on the media, the board of directors on nuclear, the board of directors is funneled up in a feudal system to they're all the same people. They have names and addresses. We'll go to NYU. If it's raining, remember their funeral was in the rain. Hardcore rain. And people wept. The sky wept. The earth wept. I think it's ironic as Megan Rice being sentenced the hardest snowstorm, maybe one of them in the history of Knoxville, Tennessee. You know, the protege of Martin Luther King, his end came in Tennessee too, but I don't think her end, she's not at the end, she's at the beginning. She'll come out of there and somebody says, how can we get a hold of her? You know, how can we talk to Megan Rice? U.S. Marshals have hold of her. They won't even let her do interviews. It's fascism on Balco, an 84-year-old nun, the protege of Dorothy Day, the greatest human rights activist in American history, Martin Luther King. She is they. She is the lineage, as Mary Evelyn Tucker said on the stand, was so moving in there. Megan Rice is the lineage of Martin Luther King. She is the lineage of Mandela. She is the lineage of Gandhi. She is. And look what we're doing to her. And morality, we need a small group, and our group will do this. Don't underestimate our small army, our post-ignorance army, because that's the way it has to be. We don't want masses of contemporary sheep. Never worked, it never will. We'll make this work. Stay on the KELP studies down there. We'll pay attention to them. You know, keep their feet to the fire, these marine biologists. We know who they are. These rats have come out of their holes 3 years later, these marine biologists, these rats, because, oh, somebody must have given them a federal grant. Guaranteed there's a federal grant money out there for this study, and guaranteed the federal grant money has an agenda. Oh yeah, the NRC, the IAEA. I pledge allegiance to the United States of nuclearism. General Electric, Westinghouse. Oh, Westinghouse. Hillary Clinton uses the word twice. Westinghouse, Westinghouse, Westinghouse. Westinghouse isn't even Westinghouse. Toshiba bought Westinghouse. Oh, Toshiba's TEPCO. You're starting to get it. Stay tuned.